have Casey.
What's
Hi.
up, David?
Hey, Casey. I think it's our first time doing a show together.
We have done like a segment here and there together,
Like-
but it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
For sure.
So Casey, is that spelled K and a C, like Kansas City? Or?
No, I don't make chicken either. I'm not one of those guys. It's a CASEY.
Okay, Casey.
And I'm not a woman. I often do get that comment, like, isn't that a woman's name? No, not always.
Yeah, it's unisex, right?
Yeah, it could be male, could be female. Actually, like traditionally, it's like a male Irish name, but I don't know what happened in like the 80s or 90s. I don't know.
Yeah.
Suddenly, like all these girls named Casey, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So I never heard the end of it at elementary school.
Casey, we have Casey. He's
That's
a
right.
male.
That's right, I
Male
am.
guest, and
I
he'll
am.
be with us every Tuesday for our Relationship Matters segment. Can you briefly tell the listeners what this segment's all about?
Yeah, well, I'm going to bring up some situations that I have in my life. This segment, we're going to talk about some romantic situations or some family situations. You can think of me as kind of 연애 박사, if you like.
진짜요?
Yeah, and typically, like a lot of people who are ready to give you advice, some of my advice might be questionable. So I will give you what I think are good ideas, and you can feel free to tell me if they're good ideas or not. And
All right.
A variety of situations.
I'll try to be as honest as possible.
Please, that's what I enjoy.
You know, I try to be a nice guy too.
Don't do that. Don't do that. 연애 박사 says don't be
critical?
nice. Yeah, be critical.
All right. So what do you have for us today, Casey?
All right, so this is definitely not a romantic topic. However, I did receive some advice from my wife about this topic. So, David, do you ever go hiking?
Yeah, from time to time I do.
Okay, cool. Because it's something I never really did until I moved to Busan. And it's something I really like about living here is because you can just like turn around and throw a rock and you'll hit a mountain. And there will be paths on it, right? Like
There's literally mountains everywhere here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and unlike mountains that I'm accustomed to in other places, they always have like walking paths. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like there's no excuse to like, why don't just go walk up a mountain, right?
Right. You call that 갈매길 in Busan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
And so where I lived, I lived in many places in my life. I lived in North Carolina for quite a while, and there were like a lot of woods, but it's not the same. It's like the Blair Witch woods. It's like where you're walking.
That's freaky.
Right. Like I almost
Tall,
got lost.
bare trees.
Yeah.
No leaves on them.
There's no way to tell which direction you're going. You're like,
That's
yes.
scary. But
Right.
but the woods here, they're pretty nice.
yeah, it's so easy
Yeah.
to go hiking. So lately these days I've been really trying to encourage my children to go hiking with me.
Okay.
And I had this situation, and I kind of didn't know what to do. So what do you do when you see another hiker? Do you 안녕하십니까? Or do you say nothing?
Do you 안녕하십니까?
Yeah. What do you do?
I mean, if we lock eyes,
Yeah.
I'll just nod down,
Oh, you do the nod. Okay.
do the nod, say
Yeah.
like "What's up," right?
Okay.
But I don't go
No
full
verbal.
down 안녕하십니까. I don't think I have ever really. Yeah, said hi to a stranger when hiking. It's kind
Okay.
of strange, isn't it?
It makes me feel better that you said that because
Yeah?
my wife actually told me the other night that no, it's like pretty common if you're like walking in like a mountain path, like people will kind of just say, oh, no, quick, 안녕하십니까, 안녕하세요, like that. She said that's kind of good manners, and I was like, really? And this is where I'm from the United States, and I have a lot of different cultural experience, I'll say, from living in different places about what's appropriate for
Yeah.
greetings.
Okay.
And since I'm a 아빠 박사 now, I guess, too, and I'm trying to teach my kids the right way to live,
How many degrees do you have?
well, technically 0. In my mind, I have many. Technically 0.
They're
I'm
all
working
based on
it.
experiences, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Experience of schools. It is not what I have. I have the experience of life. But so, yeah, my wife said that, and I was kind of like, is that something I should do? Because, when I walk around in my neighborhood where there's a mountain right behind my apartment building,
Yeah.
and I see people on the sidewalk, I don't even give them a head nod because we live in a big city, right?
Yeah.
So why would you going up into the mountains suddenly feel the pressure to say hi to people or acknowledge them?
But I guess there's no harm in saying hi to random strangers when hiking in case, you might need help. Maybe when you're lost and you want to get some help on finding the way down or way back to where you're from?
It's like you read my mind. This is exactly what happened.
Oh, yeah?
But I also I did live in a very small village for a short time in Eastern Europe, and at that point, like it was also a very different experience where I knew everybody knew who I was because there was only like not even 1,000 people that lived in the village.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty noticeable when you got an American living there. So
Kind of stand out.
yeah. So I kind of knew that everybody knew me, but also I also didn't really greet people a lot, and I was like, "Am I weird?" So I was kind of I wanted to bring this up to you today to see what you think. Is this what I should be doing? And you did hit into a point. What if you get lost in the woods, right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened with my kids. I did convince them to go hiking in the woods with me recently.
Yeah.
And I noticed that my kids typically don't say hi to people. And so, a lot of times there's people in our neighborhood, in our apartment building.
Yeah.
They're always like, oh, annyeong.
Yeah.
And my kids are just like, stare. Like they don't even like crack a smile or anything like that. And I was like, oh, have I failed as a parent?
I mean, they tend to follow what, their parents would do, right?
Right.
So you're the role model of the kids.
That's right.
So if you don't say hi to others,
Right.
your kids will follow that path.
So I've really tried to show my kids these days, like, oh, if somebody says hi, oh, 인사하세요, or then I just started kind of, instead of pushing them to do it, I'll just say, oh, 안녕하세요. I'll answer for them.
Okay.
So I'm trying to show them, like you're saying, I am their role model. So I've noticed a lot of the Korean children that are roughly the same age as my kids, they've got like a perfect bow. They've got like 안녕하십니까, like they've got it down
the
already.
90-degree bow and
For
everything.
sure. Yeah. And I'm like, am I failing in my duties as a father? Or are my kids coming off really rude, I wonder? Do you think if they don't answer, they're just kind of staring straight ahead?
Oh, so when others greet them,
Yeah.
they just stare back
Yeah, they're
without
just like
saying anything.
Yeah, they won't even look away. It's not like, and usually people are like, 부끄러워요, and then they're like, no answer.
Do they at least smile?
No.
Oh.
No. So I'm like, uh-oh. And, to be
Yeah.
fair to myself and my wife,
Yeah.
my kids did kind of come up during the COVID period when everybody was wearing
Okay.
masks. And I think that did kind of affect how kids behave.
That, I think, had a tremendous effect on
Right.
kids because all they see is eyes. of
Right.
people. They don't see what people are saying even because it's muffled.
Right? There's like, are they smiling? You can't tell. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, I didn't fail completely as a father.
No
I'll
way.
take that. All right,
No
cool.
way.
So I have been, like, as you say, I have been trying to model how to talk to people. But recently, so I did convince my kids to go up to the mountain paths behind our apartment.
Yeah.
And my kids love riding the city bus in Busan as well.
Yeah.
So I tried to do like a 2-for-1. So we went hiking, and then we wanted to go to the other side of the mountain and then take a city bus back home.
Right.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
We got lost.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we kind of got lost in the woods. Embarrassing as a father to admit. And I tried to use like a navigation app to kind of figure out which trail to pick, but it wasn't that easy. So my son noticed there was a woman walking our way, and he was like, I will ask her. And I had this moment, I was like, don't talk to strangers. I'm American. That's how I was raised.
yeah.
Don't talk to strangers. But I was also like, well, maybe I should give him this chance to try to talk to somebody in front of me and see how it goes. So my son, like a champ, he just like went up to this lady who's slightly older than me, and he was like, he didn't really. 잘 인사 못했어요. He didn't really like say anything like 안녕하세요. He was like 저기요. He was like very forward. He was like 저기요. 우리 여기 가고 싶어요. Blah, 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 blah. And he
Right.
was so fast. His Korean skills,
It's
way
like way
beyond
better
mine.
than yours.
So sad. That was the one thing I realized. I was like, I will not be teaching him Korean
they'll be teaching you Korean.
already.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he actually went up to her very confidently and told her, we wanted to go to the bus and which way could we go, and she suggested, how about we go together? And I had this moment of like, like a horror movie.
Right, following a stranger.
Right.
Some place that they don't know where they might be going.
Exactly. And I thought, is this my American cultural experience, kind of conflicting with like Korean culture in a way?
So wait, before you tell us more,
Yeah.
you were talking to your kids on the fact that you guys were lost.
Yeah.
And then you didn't tell him to go talk to her, but
It was
you
his
just
idea.
let him do it.
It was his idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's very brave.
Right?
Yeah.
But on both our parts. Because I had to overcome this fear of like, should I let my son talk to a stranger?
And he saw that nunchi.
Yes.
He's like, oh, my dad wants to, ask the lady for help.
Maybe.
So I'll just do it for him.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, maybe he was like reading me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why he wanted to do it. I was really surprised because typically when strangers say hi to them, and even people that live in our neighborhood that I recognize,
Yeah.
they don't answer at all.
Wow, he's got
So-
your back, man.
That's what.
He's got your back.
Thanks, David. I feel so much better.
You raised him good.
All right. So far, so good. And he's only 6.
Yeah.
So far,
Wow.
we're doing okay. But the thing that kind of happened was that so he started talking very comfortably with this woman, and she was so kind, and I was, oh, okay, this will be fine. But they kind of took off faster than me and my 2-year-old daughter could keep up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that again, cue the horror music.
He was out of your sight.
Almost. Like they
Almost.
were like going downhill, and I was like,
So did you pick up your
Yes.
other kid and start running?
I did. Yes,
Oh,
I did.
wow.
I was like, Sean is my son's name. I was like, Sean, slow down. You know,
Yeah.
I'm yelling at him in English, and he's like, having a great time speaking in Korean.
Scary, yeah.
Yeah. So I was a little bit frightened, and I was like, am I overreacting, or is that something? Maybe is this just a cultural difference?
I generally find the adults in Busan. I haven't had, you read horror stories all
Sure.
the time,
Right.
But I haven't
The news
had
is full of
any
it.
horror-like experience here in Busan.
Right.
And I mean, if I don't have kids, I'm not married.
Right.
But if I was a father, I would maybe a thing or two that I would teach my kids would be, you don't have to greet them, but don't follow them.
Right. Okay.
Like I think that's like a big lesson I would teach my kids.
Yeah.
You can talk to them. Yeah, you can talk to them all you want, but don't follow them.
Right. Yes, don't leave. Yes, without me especially.
Right.
Right. And then like we caught up to them, and I kind of heard what they were talking about a bit. And my son was kind of telling very openly like where we live, and like about our our neighborhood and everything. And I just had this like paranoia. I don't know if this is like American cultural programming. I was like, this is too much. This is too much information. TMI.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of had this moment where like, is there something I should adjust, while I'm living here in Busan, while I'm living here in Korea? It's something that I was learned as, as a youngster, something maybe that I learned shouldn't apply here, or is it the same? So I was kind of confused about that actually.
But I think generally speaking, the people here are pretty nice, and I don't. I mean, the woman saw you as a father,
Yes.
and he was, leaving you
Right.
to talk to her. So I don't think there will be any bad with it in that. So it should be okay, right?
It should be, but I wasn't sure. So typically, like a lot of guys who want to give advice and don't know what they're talking about, I went to the internet to back me up.
Yes.
And I found a website called kidshealth.org. So it's a legit website.
Oh, that sounds pretty legit. Yes.
Yeah, and they have an article that says teaching kids to be smart about strangers, because I kind of wanted to check, like my whole thing was like, don't talk to strangers. That's
You're
how I
right.
was raised.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I think I'm failing here. But also at the same time, Korean people are very friendly and forward, especially to children, in a way that I'm not accustomed to. So I'm like, am I being too much? So what I found from kidshealth.org is don't talk to strangers has been the rule for many parents for generations, but sometimes it's a good idea for kids to talk to strangers.
I think so.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. And they say, who else will they turn to if they're lost and need help?
Right. I think it's good to have that experience when they're young, so that through those experiences with talking to strangers, to people that they don't know, they know how to converse better in real life
Yes.
as they get older and older, right?
Yeah, totally. And I had this situation maybe a week or two ago. My son was trying to meet me. I went out to the car before him, and he was trying to meet me in the parking lot, and I wasn't where he expected me. And suddenly I get a call on my cell phone.
Yeah.
And it was my son had asked one of our neighbors to borrow their phone.
Oh,
and he
wow.
knew my phone number.
Wow.
So this is
Yeah.
exactly that situation where like he should be in that situation comfortable enough to ask somebody for help. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, cool. That's a good point then.
It is. And, you know, you keep saying, am I a bad father? You're totally not a bad father, I think.
Hey, thanks,
I think
David.
you are definitely a good 가족 박사.
Oh, 가족 박사. I like that. 오늘이
I don't know about
가족 박사.
연애 박사 just yet.
Yeah, we'll test that out. We'll test that out soon. But I appreciate the feedback on that because, like a lot of people who want to know what the right thing is, you need somebody to bounce your ideas off of.
For sure. And it's kidshealth.org. I think that's a very trustable website.
Yes, for sure. And also, I found another one that has a lot of tips, the CanadaSafetyCouncil.org, which gives you like a list of things what you can teach your children about strangers in a very simple way. And one thing that I think really important that you kind of mentioned, I think as well, is like, you know, I was there with the woman, so like give them a chance to interact with strangers while you're supervising and see how it goes.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. You know, you kind of
Because you're
test out.
there,
Yeah.
and at least the kids will know that they have your back, or you
That's
have
right.
their back.
Vice versa.
Vice
Yeah, right.
versa.
Both. My son had my back. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, talking about some relationship stuff, especially maybe relationship with strangers too. even.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
All right. We'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.
See ya. That was Casey with us for our Relationship Matters segment. He'll be with us.